The following is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
Hey. hello. Hey. You never know what's going to be underneath the mask. Is it going to be Anthony? Is it going to be Rubik's Cube? Who's it going to be tonight?
Well, tonight it's Harley Quinn, but, you know, it's Rubik's as Harley. It's Arkham City-ish Injustice 2 realness.
Woo! Hey, I heard, just on the interwebs, it sounded like you had a pretty good show last week.
Yeah. Oh, so so the crazy thing is that the first hour and a half was just depressing.
You mean as far as attendance, or?
Well, yeah, literally nobody walked in before 8:30. So I just stood there. We ended up walking up and down the street and handing out flyers to the restaurants because they all close about 8 at 9 themselves. Right. So it's hey, staff, it's an industry night. Come on out. We're having fun. But it was also kind of a way for people to see there's drag queen roaming the streets. Thank you, Phoenix. So anywho, the first hour or so. Otherwise, I was just sitting there and I'm waiting. And I'm like, I know all my friends said that they're coming closer to 8:30. We need to get something outside so people see it. So I was just really concerned it was going to be another slower day, with only a handful of people, because we want to make sure that the bar makes money, so that way they see that there's an incentive to keep doing this.
Right.
So a bunch of my coworkers showed up right before 9, which was good. So we had about 9 people then. Right. Which is about roughly the numbers we had that first week. Right. And then as soon as we were on my number, I think, or right after I finished my first number, suddenly 15 people walked in.
Ooh.
And then 5 more people walked in. And then 3 more people walked in. So it just kind of kept on growing into more and more people kept just coming up out the night, which is great, because that's kind of what we want. But it was also a lot of strange faces. It was the people I did not know. And a lot of them were a little older, and a lot of them were couples that were straight. So but they made that fucking night. People were making it rain.
But did they seem like they were having a good time?
It was great.
Did it seem like the people that were new or that you didn't recognize? Did it seem like they were having a good time, right?
Oh yeah, they had a blast.
Right.
All of them were like, "Oh my god, it's so much fun! Will you take a picture with me? Here, take a 20."
Right.
Excuse me. But no, it ended up being really fun. And then the last number of the night was, incidentally, Lady Gaga's "Rain on Me." And then, bitch, did they ever make it rain on me?
Ooh.
It was dollar bills all over the fucking place. So me and both of the other entertainers definitely made a good little grip of change.
Why the fuck did I? Why was I doing spoken word poetry, dude? I could have been doing drag this whole time and making money for this.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, I got the boobs, clearly.
Well, at certain sizes, we all just look the same, right?
Fantastic. So, usually in my experience, I've been putting on live shows for 12, 13 years or so now. And usually your first night, especially if you do a lot of promoting, you get a decent attendance. And then your second night, it always seems to drop by half. And then it slowly rebuilds over time. So if your second night, you've already gone up, man, you're kicking ass.
Well, yeah, and the nice thing is that the sales for the bar itself were 5 times better. So it ended up putting them in a black zone versus a red zone, which is what we want.
Right. I mean, you got to.
Yeah, I'm excited for next week. I don't have the same 2 performers. Vix is actually going to be leaving for a little while because they're getting top surgery.
Ooh.
And outside of that, Shady B said that they're not going to be back until the 16th. But I do have another new queen I haven't met yet, named Val Shapiro, coming up. And apparently once Shady was posting her videos of all of those people throwing money at everyone, suddenly all these other queens in Sacramento are like, oh, is she looking for people? Yeah, I've asked you all, bitch. Yeah, get over here. Get in my DMs.
Right. So was it the same performers last week as it was the first week?
Yes, I had Shady B and Sir Vix. Sasha was not there, though. Sasha's my brother-in-law and definitely does a lot more drag than I do. Mm-hmm. But she's also a much busier person. David also runs his own hair salon. So, I mean, he's a busy guy.
Right.
Having him on a regular probably won't happen, but I hope to have him more often for sure.
Right. Well, it sounds like the word is starting to get out there.
I hope so. Shit.
Yeah. Woohoo! What's going on with you, Ezra?
Not a whole lot. I'm excited for this coming week.
Well, what are you excited about?
Excuse me.
I'm
Allergies.
excited because we have received.
Da, 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 da.
This one's charging. You guys will
Ooh.
hear and see it at the end of the show.
Yeah, like we literally just got these in like an hour and a half ago.
Yeah. So they're charging. This one is also the giveaway for this week.
Right,
So...
yeah. So this Sunday, so the drawing that we've been doing, actually it closes off, it just closed off at the beginning of this show. So people could still do the copy the show and tag us, like, comment, and subscribe. And this is the saber that we're giving out this Sunday. So in fact, yeah, we got the first winner. I actually have here because I was just messaging him before the show. But the first winner, the winner of our first week, was a gentleman named Ike Torres from Minnesota. And this is what Ike won. If you squint your eyes a little, it may not look like a lightsaber at all. It may.
I
look
might
like...
have one of those in the corner side.
This does have a vibrator. When you turn it on, it will shake in your hands.
Well, may the force be with me. All I know is I'm bringing this to that night fight shit.
Hey, no showing that on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, we can't show that on YouTube.
It's fake. I swear, it's plastic.
Yeah, I think we still can't show that. Yeah, it's so weird, and I've just been learning about that too. The like little things that you can and can't say, even if you're, like making drug references and stuff. There's certain things you can't say, even if you're not like, oh, I love to smoke this stuff. Even if you're like, oh, that's disgusting, you still can't use the words.
Gotcha.
You can't say like Nerf GUN. You have to say Nerf Blaster, or
right.
If you have an actual for like, have you ever watched Demolition Ranch?
No.
Okay. Well, basically, they are a blaster YouTube channel where they don't make any money off their videos because they show them and they shoot them and everything.
Hey, really quickly, Phoenix, you can win your own long stick every single week. Multiple times. Sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to embarrass you in front of your mentor there, Ezra.
Well, I mean, last week we were talking about gay porn and Robert Pattinson, so I mean, I'm not surprised.
This is true.
The Batman coming out next week.
So excited about that. Wait, Ezra, finish out what you were saying about things happening this week, and then we can start talking about our fun topic for tonight.
So, another thing that happened today, today, we had our first class.
Woo! We did have our first class.
I don't have it next to me. Do you have what we made?
I do. Hold on. Well, keep talking for a second. Let me grab my backpacks right here.
So we made. So they introduced us to the machines and they had us make a square, but they weren't allowing us to cut anything. So they had us make a perfect square with a Sharpie.
Okay.
So we learned code, we did everything, and then we made that with the CNC machine.
I made a square. Do you know how exciting making a stupid shape like this was? I was getting so frustrated putting these codes in.
It wasn't.
Okay. I was like, "What was this? One of your buildings?" But okay, it's a computer thing.
Yeah. So we are taking CNC classes. To learn how to use the machines that make these lightsabers. So we own the machines in our shop. It's just we don't know how to use these machines.
Gotcha.
And the person that we had, it doesn't seem like they are going to be working with us for that. So we are having to learn all this stuff ourselves. But it's kind of cool. It's like, dude, can you imagine? Oh my gosh, I can't even think of like all the cool jewelry and all kinds of shit we can make you once we know how to use these machines.
It's gonna be
right. If I knew how to use a 3D printer, the shit I would come up with would be insane.
Now
can YouTube it.
imagine the 3D printer, but making things out of metal, like anything you want out of metal. So, like, I think the final project for this semester is he said you have to make a chess piece. So we'll be making little chess pieces on these on these huge ass machines.
Ooh, I love chess. I'm terrible at it, but I love playing it.
Hey, we got some weird like advertisements on site. Can we get rid
I
of
already
those?
blocked the user.
Thank you.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. So so we just started those classes today, and I am like obviously because you see all the problems I have, but I am like the least technical person on the planet. So the fact that I survived today.
Have you beat.
So Van and I had typed in the same code just to make this rounded square, and for some reason his code was bad. I guess if you copy and paste from one thing to another, but you accidentally delete the original save, if you copy and paste it from the viewer where you're able to see like the shape without going onto the mill, it puts these like little bubbles that you are like invisible onto the code, and the machine doesn't read it, so it like makes it all wonky and everything.
Right. So we had to write the program in like a notepad, and then you had to go to an app and then type in that just to see if it gives you like a visual diagram before you then take it to the machine and start messing up parts and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So it's a way for you to kind of check your work before you go ruin stuff on the machine. And so like I just couldn't like I checked it over 5 times. Ezra checked it over. The teacher checked it over. Nobody could figure out why my code wasn't working. And then finally we found this weird anomaly. But that's the kind of shit that my life happens. Like shit that will happen to nobody else.
I can relate. There was times my mom would be like, just right click. I'm like, I am right clicking. It's not doing it. Just right click. I fucking did. And then she comes over, touches the mouse. Oh, suddenly it pops up. Like what? You watched me struggle and fail. I don't know.
That's the worst, because then you just look like an idiot. I was like, I swear to God, I did that same exact thing. The computer just hates me.
It's not the device, it's the user.
So we got an exciting week. I gotta message Rob and make sure. But I think that means that we are headed off to CapitolaCon. There was a little bit of doubt because we weren't even sure if this merchandise was gonna get here. But oh my God, 3 days from China. I can't even that blows my mind. Absolutely. So we'll be heading to CapitolaCon. We are going to be sponsoring the Lightspeed tournament in Vegas in March, I believe. I'm trying to get into an event, the world's largest lightsaber battle in Sacramento on May 4th. So hopefully we will be there for that. So we're just trying to make things happen now. We just have kind of been on hold until we had merchandise in our hand, but it is here, con time. And I've got I'm in the process of getting all my shots. My second shot is March 3rd, and then I think now you have to have like a booster. You can't just have the 2, you have to have 3, right? Like for a lot of things.
I can't keep up.
I don't know what the hell the rules are anymore, man.
They change all the damn time. So how do you keep up?
From county to county.
Used to be you had to quarantine for 14 days and it went down to 7. Now it's 5.
Yeah.
It
makes no sense.
3, 2, 1.
Let's
go.
And on that note, how about we get into our topic for tonight?
Yes.
Yeah. So we are going to be talking about, there seems to be a slew of a new video game movies that are coming up. Now, it used to be the thing. Back in my day, when I was growing up, if it was a video game movie, you were going to be certain it was going to be pretty crappy. Nowadays, maybe not so much. It seems like they're putting a little more effort and care into some movies.
I mean, it depends.
It does depend, because Assassin's Creed, it's not the best movie in the world. Definitely not as good as they were putting it out to be during like ads and everything.
But Assassin's Creed came out 5-6 years ago, right?
I think so.
So
that was after both of the Silent Hills, though, for sure.
Yeah, and the Silent Hills weren't very well received, were they?
Well, the first one was. The only really big issue I have with the first one is that they just decided to change the main character from like a guy to a girl because I guess like the director was like, well, I think it's more of a motherly thing to like run into some ghost town through hell to go after your child. The thing is that like the majority of the game didn't have any other male characters. There's like maybe one. And so even like the Hollywood producers were like, hi, where are the men in this film? Because it's kind of strange that it's just an all-female cast.
Right.
But at the same time, like that's still the one that's the most faithful to like how the style of the game was. Like the fact that the music was the same. A lot of the settings were the same. Like they even kind of hinted at things like her checking the map, which is a staple in that game. And then some of the very significant, noticeable like camera angles, like those were all really good nods. It was like when they started to really detract from where the story went, that's where it kind of was like, what the fuck? And then like the sequel was terrible. The sequel like jumped the shark by not doing everyone's favorite Silent Hill, which is Silent Hill 2, and instead kind of doing more of a take on 3, which I liked as a game, but again, they didn't do it justice. They chose to go some other weird route.
Ezra, did you see either of those Silent Hill movies?
No, but I did watch like reviews on them.
Yeah.
I want to say those were pretty early 2000s, so I'm not surprised that you didn't see those. No.
Right. So
have you ever played Silent Hill?
I played the first one for like a good 30 minutes. Then
oh god, you have to play number 2. It's a rite of passage, and it still stands up to this day.
Wow.
I got bored.
The first one's rough. The second one's solid.
Right.
Okay. I'll play this. I'll get the second one. I'll play it.
So I don't remember which one of you it was, but we were talking offline. I don't know if it was Ezra or Rubik's, but we were talking offline, and someone was saying that they were talking about the Uncharted movie that's coming out, and how say Wong and Steven, what is going on? Thank you for tuning in. We were just now talking about Silent Hill, but Uncharted. You were talking about the Uncharted movie, and somebody was saying that they're trying to turn it into a whole universe. That
was me.
What? Okay, so explain that one again a little. Yeah, explain that, and then I want to speak on that because that gave me some ideas on things. But go ahead.
Okay, so we went and saw Uncharted a few days ago. It was like a spur of the moment thing. But anywho, when it started, you know how like the Marvel movies always have that like Marvel, and it's a bunch of flashes of a bunch of different things and kind of layers over each other. It does the big Marvel logo. They did that, but with like, I don't know if it was Sony or if it was PlayStation. That's the thing. I can't remember what the company was calling itself,
right?
But it was like God of War and I forget what like other franchises like the Tomb Raider, Uncharted. Right. They threw a couple of other those action series ones in there, so it tells me like that this is signifying that they are trying to do like an MCU, but with like the new video games of the day.
Which is to me such a dope idea.
I mean, God of War is not a film already. It's just a shame because that one's made for the perfect summer action flick.
Right. Say Wong is saying PlayStation Studios.
New God of War.
Thank you. That's what it was. PlayStation Studios.
The new God of War, not the 1 through. I don't know how many.
1 through 3 were solid, ridiculous action films. The new God of War is amazing. Yes.
They made more than just those 3 before they made the PS4 God of War, though.
Yes. There was like maybe 3 or 4 spin-off games.
Right.
It was like PSP and something else.
So how do you guys feel about that? I mean, we talk about it all the time. I mean, this has been an idea since Disney, right? Of a shared universe kind of thing. Pixar is, grew up on that whole shared universe thing. But for video games, this is kind of a newer idea, right? I mean, do you even really see that in video games much? Are there kind of tie-ins to other games outside of franchises?
Probably not. Because there's not a lot of crossover, if any, that I've seen in the games. But it does have these really solid worlds that have a fan base that gives them something that they can build a franchise off of, right?
Right.
Resident Evil. Klaus just was mentioning Resident Evil. I liked the first Resident Evil movie, even though it wasn't the same as the game, only for the fact that it kind of was like this is like the prequel. And then they totally screwed the pooch after that with every single movie, just not being consistent as shit. Yeah. I'm sad that the new Resident Evil movie that just came out like really bombed hard. The Welcome to Raccoon City. And it sucks because like the first game would like just that story of the stars being lost in the Spencer Mansion. That could be such a cool little zombie horror film. And just nope, they camp it up and make it all about like this Vin Diesel action flick. And I don't know why. Right. They need a better director in that. They need the guy who did Midsummer to do it.
So Say Wong over here has an interesting comment or question. He says, does Uncharted shake the stigma that comes with video game movies? First off, along with that, you said you saw the movie Uncharted. How was it?
Yeah. Okay, so it's not terrible. It's not.
Do you feel it's true to the game?
It's not as true to the game as it could have been. And what I mean by that is that, like, if you've ever played the Uncharted games, you know that Nathan Drake like goes up and down shit all the time. I think I saw Tom Holland train to climb things at like a little montage, and then like maybe saw him actually climb one thing in the entire rest of the film.
Right. Literally climbing like 90% of the games.
Well, yeah. So there just wasn't enough scaling as you normally would see, which would have been okay, but it was a pacing issue. So they spent a little too long like developing these like little backstories and then trying to establish these characters.
So is it kind of like a Batman versus Superman kind of feel? Where they kind of spent too long backstorying Batman and...
Well, I mean, at least with that one, it was stupid because we already know those characters. You don't need to grow this huge relationship on Batman. Like, again, if I have to see Bruce Wayne's fucking parents get killed one more damn time, I know. We all know that they die. Like, that's right. Like, we know. With this one, it's a bunch of characters that aren't even in the games necessarily. I think that Nathan, Sully, and Chloe is in the game, right? Isn't she in Uncharted 2?
Chloe is in it, yeah.
Yeah, so those characters are in the universe of the game itself. The bad guys, on the other hand, completely new. This whole storyline of how Nathan and Sully get together, completely new. I will say that Mark, why can't I think it was in Marky Mark? The guy who's playing Sully. Right, that's why he's sticking out in my head. Mark Wahlberg. He unfortunately does not play Sully like how Sully should be. He plays him how Mark Wahlberg is.
And then you not want to see it now.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's still a fun romp. It's a little bit of a heist movie. I wish there was more action. Like, it starts off so fucking strong, and then there's very few fight sequences.
Okay,
a lot of it's like going to these destinations, and then we're going to talk about this stuff, or we're going to look at this thing. So it's not bad. I would give it probably like a B-.
Okay, was this movie specifically Uncharted 3, or was it 1, 2, and 3 put into one?
No, that's just it. It's none of them. It is.
But
none
they had
of
the
those
whole falling
stories.
out of the plane scene.
Well, but that's just it. That's the only thing that they took from the games. Unless Uncharted 3 was about Magellan's ships, I don't think that this one would have been it.
There was ships in the game where Nathan got kidnapped and was put into a shipyard, like a broken down shipyard, right?
No. These are like Magellan's ships from like way back in like the Spanish Inquisition days.
Oh.
So that's what I mean. Like it was a new hunt, and it's kind of like the prequel that brings these characters together. So I'm kind of hoping that the next one is Uncharted 1, the game's storyline. Like them looking for El Dorado and then bringing in those characters from that and then really sticking to that formula of what made that game so fucking awesome. Like, right. You better have a jet ski thing going upriver with her on the back of you shooting guys. Like they really waited till like the end to incorporate a lot of gunplay because it was a bit more Indiana Jones. But even still, it's very Indiana Jones. Like there's a little bit of this mystery and this. It does have fun set pieces, and it doesn't necessarily rely on a whole lot of CG until the finale. So that's fine.
So let me ask you guys this then, and really quickly, Say Wong says in terms of crossover, it doesn't happen a lot with Western video games, but in Japan, it's a frequent thing. So I guess in Japan, you often see different franchises crossing over.
Well, certainly in fighting games.
Yeah. Or right. Yeah, you see, and then I totally forgot about this, like Smash Brothers. Why do you think it's so hard? Because I mean, the last Mortal Kombat I thought was friggin' horrible. It was funny. Kano was a little bit funny, but it didn't feel like
the game.
The movie that came out. They had the main character. I can't remember what his name was, like Cole or something like that.
Yeah,
not even a character in the video games.
Yeah.
So why do you think it's so hard to translate video games into movies?
Ezra.
Because there's so much to put into like a 2-3 hour movie from like probably a 30, 20, however long hour game.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff that's in the video game, like and I'm about to spoil Uncharted 3 here. You meet Sully, or not meet Sully, but because he's in 1 and 2, but you find out how Nathan met Sully. You found out why they're on this hunt, how Nathan got this ring and this cipher disc thing. You found out how who's hunting for this treasure. You find out who the main enemy is, all within like a good amount of time, without it all being packed into like a good 10-minute of a movie.
But do you think? I mean, I would agree with you if I felt like I saw more of the games in these movies. A lot of times with some of these video game movies, it seems like they're taking the name, but the story itself like could have like very little to do with the actual video game.
Well, yeah, that's the thing though. With say Assassin's Creed, that one actually did pretty good. It didn't go off the video games. It did make its own storyline with it. But it still did the Animus, which is the thing that puts you back into the past without actually going back to the past. It still did the Hidden Blades. It still did like an Assassin's Creed storyline, because I want to say like 13 Assassin's Creed games, not including like 1, 2, and 3 of Ezio. So all of these are like showing, hey, or sorry, going off on a different thing. With that movie, it kind of was just like, it had its own storyline, but it still wanted to show the esque of Assassin's Creed. It still showed Abstergo being the bad guy and the assassins trying to save the world, the whole nine. I feel like the only reason that movie failed was because people didn't like how the Animus looked. I feel like that's the main
I didn't
thing.
see it, so I can't really comment on it. But
I
even
was never big on Assassin's Creed, so I can't comment on it either.
You're talking about one movie though. Out of I can probably list 10 video game movies right now that I thought were just a shame to what the actual video game. And it seems to me that if these games are so popular, right, it's got its own storyline. Just follow that shit. Like, why do they have to? It seems like they Hollywood takes old movies and remakes the same exact thing, right, and for updates, but they can't do that with video games, right? They just want to go all avant-garde and shit and just go in their own direction for video games. Why is that?
Which is the irony, is it not? Like, it makes me wonder if like maybe they can't get the rights to having the same storyline. Like they get the licensing for the characters and the name, but like they can't take the story for whatever fucking reason, which never makes any sense. Because if you're gonna make a movie about it, like just make that thing, but like Sony, this medium.
Sony and PlayStation own the rights to Uncharted. And they own the rights to
it's a PlayStation Studios movie, so yeah, you would think that there wouldn't be any issue with that.
Right.
Exactly.
See, I actually like the Mortal Kombat one, but I agree with you that like the main character being this completely out of the blue
I thought he was going to be Scorpion.
Honestly, I thought he was going to be Scorpion
but
too.
Then all of a sudden this like ghost of Scorpion comes back from the dead and we're like, what the fuck?
Right.
Which I did like that they brought in the Scorpion Sub-Zero conflict, because that's a big thing with those characters.
Right.
That's sorely absent from the original like 90s movie of it.
Right.
And let's not get started on Mortal Kombat Annihilation. That was the start of that trend of what did it do?
The one that
And
was
I
good though
did-
was Pixels.
Huh?
The one video game movie that was good was Pixels.
Are you talking about the friggin' comedy Adam
You mean the
Sandler
one
movie?
that's literally an episode of Futurama that they aired like 8 years before that? Yeah, okay, sure.
I don't
Talking
even
about
put that
following
in
a
the same
storyline,
genre.
and they took a 30-minute episode and turned it
It
into
was
a
a video
goddamn
game
2-hour
movie,
film.
though. It's categorized as a video game movie.
It's just as much as Wreck-It Ralph is a video game movie, okay?
So, and if we're gonna go
Okay.
that way, see, that's one of the video game movies that has been done right, in my opinion. Although I didn't like the second one as much.
Ralph Breaks the
No,
Internet.
Ralph Breaks the Internet kind of.
Right, but I
Outside
love-
of the Disney princess meta shit, that was like my favorite part, but they spoiled it in the trailers.
Right. So why is it? Do you think? Is it because in video games, it's all about decisions you make, right? So the way I play a video game, especially if it's an open world game, right? If you play something like, could you imagine them making like a GTA movie? Holy crap, what would that even be like? But
Terrible.
But
Well,
the point of the matter is it because in video games you are meant to have that sense of choice, and in movies you are given a story? Is that why maybe it doesn't translate? Or
Maybe.
Well, I know what Ezra was saying before about like you're spending 16 to 30 hours in a game versus the 3 hours in a movie. However, I will say that a lot of games, if you look up like the cutscene movie or like the movie version on YouTube, it's usually about 3 hours. It'll average like the cutscene time around 3 to 4 hours. So they could do it. They could do it correctly. I think that studios just choose not to. I again don't know what reasoning that is. I'm almost certain it's got to be some sort of like executive decision, or like having too many cooks in the kitchen, or people are like, I think I can make this better. Like instead of just doing the simple task of, hey, take the things that made this such like a fun experience and like turn that into a movie experience.
Right. Hey, Ezra, can you make sure that those comments are coming up on the side? I know, and please forgive me because I don't have the complete information, but I remember watching this YouTube video, and it was explaining why there was such a slew, particularly in the 80s and early 90s, why there was such a slew of bad video game movies. And they were saying that I guess in Germany or something, there was a loophole in the law for taxes where if you were doing certain things, you could get certain tax credit. And one of them was movie production. Like if you lost money in a movie production, you could get that money back in corporate taxes or something
I could
like
see
that.
that being a loophole for sure.
And so that was the whole thing. The guy was just like, I'm just buying whatever name I can and just making a movie and fuck with what it's about. But I think we're coming in, and I was really excited when Rubik's was talking about the PlayStation Studios, because I was excited. Like, I love the whole Marvel shared universe thing, and I was excited about that idea in video games as well.
I mean, I think that if we were to see a Lara Croft and Nathan Drake together, like that could exist in the same universe. Because
Right.
I mean, the new Lara Croft Tomb Raider games are already kind of a ripoff of Uncharted, but Uncharted's also already kind of a newer take on Lara Croft Tomb Raider. And if we're going to get back to like old movies from like the 90s and whatnot, the original Tomb Raider movie was solid. And that's one that didn't follow that formula of the storyline.
That's true. That was the
maybe
Angelina
that's
Jolie.
why they do this. They think they're going to get lightning in a bottle again with like Lara Croft Tomb Raider that did it well.
Right. I forgot about the.
My husband's the biggest Lara Croft fan ever, and he's like super mad that I even said anything about Uncharted having a one-up on.
About to start a fight.
I'm just saying that
the
gameplay was something that elevated in the newer generation.
He
He totally bit off of her. I'm just saying that it got the things that like Angel of Darkness fucked up fixed. Because there's a lot of platforming in that one that was very frustrating. It was like you had to press a separate set of buttons to grab things rather than just being able to jump to those things. And I remember that was one of the players' biggest issues, is that you're dying all the time because of the mechanics of the game itself. Not that the game is bad or that she isn't the OG original badass bitch Indiana Jones ripoff.
Right.
My
Right.
first video game was one of the original Tomb Raiders.
I love you.
Right.
So mad at me.
I didn't mean to start a fight in your house tonight.
I didn't mean to either. Deleted.
If we
Go on, Ezra.
If we don't see Rubik's on next show, we'll know why.
You almost do a spit take. I saw that.
I can't. I have champagne with me right now.
Yeah, it's too valuable.
Mimosas.
Taking that shit. What were you gonna say, Ez?
My first video game I ever played was one of the original Tomb Raiders, not Uncharted. I don't remember which one, but I do specifically remember like climbing up to a plane. I don't remember which one that was. It was like on a cliffside. It was crashed. 2. He knows.
That boy has played all of them. All of them. No, he got mad like that with me. When the new remake, like the first one that came out, I got 100% before him.
Right. Okay. Say Wong says the whole VG movie stigma also applies to Japan as well. Video game movie stigma also applies. Are you saying the Japanese games, or are you saying Japanese interpretations like in Japan, or Americans trying to make Japanese
Phoenix Wright and Final Fantasy?
Ooh, yeah, the Final Fantasy Spirits Within was not a good choice. And it sucks because when that movie was first coming out, like that was their big foray into like, we're going to make this whole new thing. Like I remember at the time when that movie was coming out, they were legitimately trying to make it a thing to have like a CG character be an actual actress. Like they were designing that character to be something that like could act in other movies, and that they were trying to make this whole studio thing about this photorealistic CG humans.
Right.
And then it failed miserably because they took a name like Final Fantasy and then decided, let's put it on our planet.
Right.
That makes sense at all. Like it was one of those things as a fan at the time, especially with the success of Final Fantasy 7 and 8, I think was out by then. Like we were expecting to see chocobos, and we were expecting to see like magic or some sort of homage to those games that did do like a sci-fi with fantasy element. And then instead they're like, oh, well, we're just going to make it in our planet. And there's these weird alien phantom creatures that kill you because they touch you. Like it didn't follow the right path of things that we wanted in the franchise. All they did was add a character in there named Sid and then called that a fucking day. Like,
Right. Yeah. So do you think going forward, do you think we're going to see a lot of kind of these mistakes that we've been seeing for years and years and years with these movies? Or do you feel like there's any wind out there to change and make these games better? I mean, I almost feel like it's going to take one movie, right? Just the same way it happened with Batman, right? It took The Dark Knight to show that people would actually watch a darker, grittier movie, and people wanted these. And then that became the trend, right? To have the more realistic superhero movies. Do you feel like the video game movies are going to be like that, or are they going to remain kind of weird, or are they going to finally start getting these things right?
I think Uncharted's a step in the right direction to some extent. Like, again, it's one of those things that like there's still some things that they can fix. I think like they need to really listen from the feedback of the fan base and take those critiques to some sense of like, okay, this is what we can fix next time. I will say that the recent Tomb Raider one that was based off of the reboot game failed miserably, only for the fact that they took 45 minutes to get to the start of where we started in the game, and then changed everything for no good goddamn reason. So kind of going back to that, if you're going to base it off of the specific game itself with the settings and those characters, you need to follow that storyline. If you want to create a new storyline, it has to have a lot of fresh stuff with the knowledge of you need to put what makes those characters work for the fans into the films. So like, again, Tom Holland climbing a lot of shit would actually have made it a better experience. Because to some extent, like, don't get me wrong, I'm thirst trapping on him hard. He's cute. He's coming off the success of Spider-Man.
I was gonna say, how do you have Spider-Man in a movie not climbing up walls?
Well, he's very acrobatic. Like he's a very physically fit individual to begin with. It's just that he's very young. He is 25 and he's trying to get away from those younger roles, which is why I don't think he wants to play, teenager like Spider-Man anymore. But he still looks like a teenager. Right. And even like Mark Wahlberg, like isn't quite old enough to be Sully, but he certainly is 10 years too far gone to play Nathan, because he would have fit in that role too. But I digress. Like they're trying to create a new franchise. I think that Tom Holland's like the new Tom Cruise. Right. And so like his career's on an uptick for sure. I feel like we need to see him mature a little bit.
Yeah.
Just slightly.
Someone who could have played Nathan a lot better would probably be someone like Ryan Reynolds. I feel like he would have fit the part a little bit better, because Ryan can play someone really serious when he needs to, like in Red Notice.
Yeah, no, he is good. He is good. He's also been in a lot of superhero stuff too, and I mean, Deadpool is still his best portrayal
so
to
far.
me.
Yeah.
I also love him in the Voices. That's a great little horror comedy. Check that out. But other than that, I don't know.
Oh,
I always thought that Nathan Fillion would have actually been really good, because I always felt that they kind of based Nathan Drake off of him.
Dude, speaking of Ryan Reynolds, there's actually one of the movies that kind of creeps me out. It's one of those movies that creeps me out just thinking about it. He was in a fantastic movie that my friend turned me on to. I believe it's called The Box. Absolutely. I mean, as far as, I come from a film background. I've, shot commercials and video and things like that. And so I'm always fascinated by, when I watch a movie, like, how did they film this? And, what are they doing? The choices and stuff like that. This movie, what's so incredible about this movie, it's the only person you see in the entire movie is Ryan Reynolds. And it's Ryan Reynolds inside a coffin for the entire
I have heard of this.
movie.
I've heard of it. I never saw it though.
Oh my God, dude. My friend told me about this movie, right? And I was able to watch it on Netflix or something like that. So I was watching it on my computer, and I was in my bedroom, and literally, I had never had this experience before, but literally after the first 10 minutes of the movie, I had to put the computer on pause and walk out of my room because I was feeling claustrophobic. You know what I mean? Like, it's amazing to me that you can tell an entire story in one location with one actor.
Okay,
Ryan
that
Reynolds
makes me want to go see that movie for sure. Go ahead.
Definitely check. I think it's called The Box or something. But it's definitely Ryan Reynolds. So if you look through his movie, IMDb, I'm sure it'll pop up. But it's him inside. I'm not going to give anything away, but the movie starts and he wakes up inside this coffin with just a cell phone. He has no idea where he is or how he's in there. But he's got to figure out everything. Huh?
It's called Buried.
Buried. Oh, my God. Got to check that movie out.
Yeah, I do remember hearing about that one, but I didn't get a chance to check it out yet.
Yeah.
One thing, just going back to Uncharted for like 2 seconds, there was a live-action fan film back in 2018 with Nathan Fillion and Stephen Lang in it. If you want to go check that out.
Well, then why the hell did that not take off?
Yeah, there was
it's okay, that happened with The Punisher too, I believe.
Yeah, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, Nathan Fillion was Nathan Drake, and then Stephen Lang was Victor, and then Elena Fisher was Mirka Monroe, if you know who that is.
No, I can't remember. It's been a minute since I played those games. I never played all of them. I only played the first 2 for sure, and then like half of 3.
Well, Elena Fisher.
I was like, I don't know.
Mirka Monroe played Elena Fisher. Elena Fisher was the girl, the lady.
Oh, I thought her name was Ellie.
No, it's Elena.
That's Last of Us, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Last of Us.
Okay. See, I can't keep my shit together. Now, Last of Us would be a cute movie too. Well, not cute movie, but it would be an interesting, like, creepy, like, fun.
Aren't they making a Last of Us movie? I heard
probably. PlayStation Studios.
Last of Us movie.
And
yeah, it's coming on HBO.
Oh, wow.
Okay, good for them.
It like soon or?
Let's see. It doesn't say. But actually, from this photo from the thing here, let me share my screen.
Steven says Ryan Reynolds is a pisser, but he can very much be a serious actor, and he can flip the script when he has to.
Oh,
Look at this photo.
Oh wow.
Brandon, your Harley Quinn. Stay there.
I don't know who that is, but it looks like the guy that plays Mando.
Pedro Pascal?
Yeah, from the back, it looks like the guy that plays Mando.
Interesting. If that's actually ends up being Pedro Pascal, I'm gonna I'll have to bow down to you.
I feel
really
like
even the back of somebody's head.
I feel like he might play a good Joel. Like he has the seriousness to play that kind of character. I don't know who would be able to play Ellie though. I think they need an actual 14-year-old to play Ellie.
Well, it's funny because they kind of based it off of Ellen Page, but now it's Elliot Page, and so that's off the table.
I mean, actually, though, Elliot Page did say that he is okay with playing female roles.
Well, I think even still, he's probably aged out of that particular character.
Yeah, probably. I think he would more play Last of Us 2.
It needs to be an actual
Ellie.
Teenager.
Yeah,
You need a new ingenue, but somebody who feels like Ellen Page back in the day. Oh God, Hard Candy is one of my favorite fucking movies, and that's another one. Takes place mostly in one location. Two actors are like the star of the entire fucking film, and is awesome.
Wow.
That's a roller coaster thriller that I recommend to everybody.
Okay. Hard Candy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So so we're talking about video games, but what do you guys think about? I'm going to change it just slightly a little bit. I guess you're going to figure out how I feel about it. But what do you guys feel about these cash grabs on board game movies? Right? We've had Battleship. We've had goddamn, there was like 2 or 3 board game movies that came out.
Yeah, and they're all terrible.
Yeah, what were they? There was Battleship. What else was there?
They've omitted themselves from our memory on purpose.
Jumanji, Ventura, Battleship,
Okay, but Jumanji and Zathura were books, weren't they?
Game Night, World Wars, Dungeons and Dragons, Under the Boardwalk, The Monopoly Story, Witchboard 2, Game of Death, Brooklyn Castle, Quinjet, Ouija, Exorcism, and The Divine.
Battleship was garbage. Battleship, yeah. I can't believe. Oh, Monopoly, yeah. Steven is saying Monopoly was a movie. I didn't know they made a Monopoly movie, but I know there was a time period of a couple of years where they just, and I think it had to do, and you guys are gonna think I'm crazy, but I have never ever seen. Hey Dave, what's up, my man? It's good to see you online. One of our premier fighters and our saber fighters around.
Clue is an awesome movie. Absolutely.
Clue was another one that was based on a game. That's true.
And but that was from like the 80s. And they even that one, they took the concept of the game and then just made it really clever and funny and different. And they got good actors in that one. I still love Madeline Kahn in that. Flames from the side of my face.
Say Wong said, "Oh God, D&D movie with Marlon Wayans." I remember that now. I totally blocked that one out until he said Marlon Wayans was in. I was like, "Oh yeah." And I think a lot of 80 movies were better. I think it came from, and I have never seen any of the pirate movies, Pirates of the Caribbean movies. But I think that's where the trend started, with them just starting making movies based on Disney rides.
Okay, there was a lot of movies based off of rides, hoping to get off of the Pirates franchise. Which, by the way, go do yourself a favor and watch the first 2 in the very least, because those are awesome. 3 is tolerable because it closes out that storyline of 2, but everything after that kind of you can live without.
Yeah, you can kind of live without the most recent one.
Right.
Yeah, the most recent one was terrible. I would just say that was a cash grab for Johnny Depp, and he was phoning it in. Like they just wanted another Pirates movie. They didn't know what to do with it though.
Right. But then they had there was like a Tomorrowland movie.
Yes, I remember that one, which it did not do well. And then they also did the
Space Mountain. Actually, that was one of the original. I totally forgot. Disney, back when I was a kid, back in the 80s, they used to have the Sunday Disney movies or whatever. Do you remember that, Anthony? Like Disney would have, I think every Sunday night they would put out like a different movie or something, and Return Was it Return to Witch Mountain? Or
Oh yes, now that you say that, okay, yes, and I do remember what Return to Witch Mountain. That one I actually liked as a kid, and they did do a lot of random, weird little moves. Oh god, I feel like that's like where a lot of like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and they all kind of have that feel of like Freaky Friday or the original Herbie the Bug.
Oh wow,
like,
Freaky
it was a
Friday.
lot of those movies.
Right. But
God,
yeah, so I was
Freaky Friday. Ooh.
Yeah.
That takes me back. I'm not talking Lindsay Lohan, okay? That was the remake.
Right. But yeah, I remember there was a slew of at least 3 or 4, like, and I want to say this was the 2000s or something like that, but there was 3 or 4 Disney movies, and it was after Pirates of the Caribbean where they were just trying to make. But I also feel like that was the same time period where they were making these movies based on board games as well. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, I think that, I want to say there was one other one than Battleship, and it wasn't Monopoly. And I can't. And again, I think we have omitted these from our minds for a good reason because they just weren't
caused too much trauma.
It was one of those things, like, I remember seeing the trailers for Battleship, going, "Really?
Right?
Not watching that one." So Rihanna, this is where you chose to start your acting career,
right? Dave
would,
agrees with you. The first 2 pirate movies were good. He said they sucked after that because they were drunken hallucinations of Jack Sparrow.
Well, and the third one was really overly convoluted, and yeah, like again, the first 2 were the best. The first one is one of those things that really hooked us, and then we like demanded a sequel, and then the second one started us off on this like, okay, we need to make some like epic saga, and they really hit it on the head with bringing in Davy Jones. He was a really compelling character. Tia Dalma, really compelling character. And then it branched us out into this like deeper side of Jack Sparrow. It's the third one that like they end up throwing so much extra into the mix of what that story was going to like ultimately write out. And really they could have split that into 2 movies and had it been like the first half of it just trying to get Jack back from Davy Jones' locker, and then the latter one being like the pirate war. Stranger Tides kind of felt like the old Disney movie that was like Treasure Island or something that had the mermaid in the box, with the kid from Home Improvement, not Jonathan Taylor Thomas, the other one. I think his name was Zachary Taylor Bryan. All the boys back then had like 3 names as their entire actor name. I don't know why.
Hello, Ike Woodruff.
Ike, we were here. Ike actually, since Ike is here, he was asking me if I could send photos of his saber. We were showing off your saber earlier tonight, my friend. This is your lovely saber, my friend. And now I don't have to send you photos later because you can just watch the video. I have not powered it up at all, but it is absolutely gorgeous. Ike was the first winner of our saber giveaway. For thank you to TXQ. We do that every Sunday night, but this is it. Power, it's got to be charged up there. 11 colors, different sound fonts, all your fun bells and whistles flash on Crash. Thank you for tuning in, Ike.
To the comment we just saw about bringing aliens into the franchise of pirates, they already did that with Indiana Jones, and it was not a good choice.
Yeah, that is
We
true.
don't talk about that movie.
We don't talk about that movie just like we don't talk about Bruno.
I was hoping
Corona.
you got it. We don't talk about Rona.
Yeah, and there's instructions and all that in there too.
Yeah, and they have retention screws. So there's some extra retention screws, and it comes with a retention key. I know you probably have them because you own your own saber business, but
and he doesn't own his own saber business. That was a misconception.
You lied to me. You blatantly lied to me.
I didn't blatantly lie to you. Somebody told me that. All right, so let's get back on track. So we were talking about games in general, but then before that we were kind of talking about the future of the movie games. What do you guys think about that? Is there anything that you just think, oh my God, they're stupid for not turning this into a movie?
God of War.
Well, it sounds like that's going to be coming, right?
Oh, absolutely. I think once they get the formula down, then that one's coming because then they know, okay, we can't fuck this one up.
Right.
If they fuck up God of War, they are not allowed to make any more movies.
Yeah, and they know that.
No, like God of War is like the best video game pretty much out there, and I will back that. Like, you can come fight me if you want to. God of War was fucking amazing. Like,
You're talking about the PS4 one though, right?
yes, PS4 one. The 1 through 3 were good. The spin-offs not so much. They were all right. 1 through 3 were good for the PS2 games that they were, or the PS3 games that they were. PS2 and PS3 games that they were. They were all right. For PS4, they upped that shit like 1,000 times. That went from all of a sudden this guy who's all like, I want to kill the gods, to like a mature male adult who was like,
and that's
I
the
don't
fun
really
thing
care
about
about
the
it.
whole story of Kratos, and that is just how vastly different he is evolved as a character from the original franchise, which is just all this, I'm shouting all of my dialogue, rage-filled individual, to this tempered, somber, like hardened man who's trying to like teach his child how to survive in the world, and has this deep, dark secret. And the greatest thing about it is that they didn't shy away that those other games existed. They hinted so much at all of those things, but through this new lens of him learning, like, I can't be that angry person all the time anymore. Like, it's him almost reflecting on, like, I would feel that Kratos has some sense of regret and remorse of, like, I should not have let my anger control me like that.
Right.
And
Especially
you see him
when,
trying
like,
to instill that with his son throughout the game.
Right. I also really enjoy the fact that they went away from like the Greek mythology and went to Norse.
Well, they killed the entire Greek god system, so yeah, they had to do something. And I love the fact that they switched to the Norse, because I've always loved Norse mythology. So bringing like that kind of energy into something that I already kind of knew about, like the fact that like the Valkyries were like the secret bosses. Oh my god, I was fangasming over that.
I'm still stuck on the third Valkyrie. I am pissed with it.
Bitch, just change your settings to easy and kill all of them, okay?
I have it on the easiest setting. I have it on easy plus.
Well then, honey, I don't know what to tell you, because I kicked all them bitches' asses, okay?
I also don't have
it doesn't
really
matter what gear you have, what gear you need to get the Hidden Mist one from Niflheim, and then you need to have the right runes attached to things. Like certain attacks will help dispel them from charging you and whatnot. But they all have their own set of attacks, and they all have their own set of defenses. And it's one of those things where like the build of your character, what you're wearing, really influences on how well you can tackle that fight.
Yeah, wow. I'm so sucky at remembering to block or just to like duck and roll. I suck
and
at
timing the deflect attacks is crucial too.
Every once in a while I'll get it, but when it comes to like bosses, I'm so worried about like I'm gonna die that I forget just to block.
Hey, really quickly, say Wong was saying Ghostbusters video game, and then Phoenix was saying Red Dead. Now, my question for say Wong, because that's an interesting idea, right? You've got a video game that's based off a movie, but the video game has a whole different storyline. So then, do you make a movie for the video game, or does that become too confusing?
No, we just had a Ghostbusters movie. If they were going to base off the game, that was their chance. But a Red Dead Redemption movie, I could see that doing really well.
I would go see that.
Yeah.
Even if it sucks, I would still go give it a chance.
They would just need to make it like a serious Western. It needs to be like The Last True Grit. Something of that caliber and cinematography stance.
I am somewhat looking forward to the Last of Us movie. But if they fuck it up, oh my god! Like, how do you fuck up that kind of zombie movie? Like, it's
by
so
making
easy.
It too much like The Walking Dead.
Hey, let me ask you guys a question, because I'm not as much of a gamer as both of you are. But in open world games like GTA or Red Dead Redemption or something, is there still an overlying story that they're trying to guide you through, or do you create your own story?
It depends on the game, because Skyrim is a pretty open world game. There's still the main storyline, but then you can go off and become either a vampire, a werewolf. You can go to the witches' college and become or the mages' college and become a mage, and you then become the principal of the mage. or then you can go to the Bard's College and become a bard. It depends on the thing because there's so many different storylines in Skyrim per se.
Well, I guess
that
my
you make
bigger
your own.
question, and quick shout out to our main man Kevin Hogan there, the producer of California Convention.
Nope.
God damn it, California Convention Adventures with Kevin. California Convention Adventures with Kevin. That's not right.
California Comic-Con Adventures.
Ah, damn it, dude. We've only been doing that segment for 7 months now. At any rate, hello to Kevin. But so my question is would it be too hard to make a movie with these open world games, because the way you play it might be completely different than how I play it, correct?
True, but again, it depends on what the main storyline of the game is. Like a lot of the times with these open world things, there's a lot of side missions with side characters that open up extra content, but they're not the heart of the game. Conversely, like take something like Kingdom Hearts 3, which it's a little bit more open world, but what it did was set every world with its own little mini villain that had some sort of subplot that was vague enough that it didn't matter what order you played it in, but they were pretty much all kind of like a cookie cutter rinse and repeat matter of conveying it. Like get to the world, get halfway through it, fight the one organization 13 member, hear their little spiel, and then continue on with what was in the movie, or what wasn't in the movie, because they couldn't make up their fucking mind on that one. Kingdom Hearts 3 was one that kind of let me down, I'm not gonna lie. And we waited forever for it, and I didn't have the energy or the time to invest in like 5 different systems to play the 15 other spin-off games so that I could understand the story of the third, which was just completely exempt of all of the Final Fantasy characters that were awesome in 1 and 2. So I don't know. It felt a lot like Naruto at the end too. I'm not gonna lie.
I have the third one, but I've yet to play it just because I've heard some negative feedback and some positive feedback with it.
It's still a fun game. Like there's still great battle mechanics in it. Like it's so visually stunningly beautiful. It's one of those things that if you don't watch the 4-hour like briefing on what's happened in the storyline, you're not going to understand what the fuck is going on. There are so many characters that they've added in through this very anime-esque, like convoluted, shadowy society that's literally the same character model, but with like a different head on it. And it just it feels very Akatsuki. Like if you've watched Naruto, you know what that is. And even playing like the game that like summed up the finale of that entire series before Boruto came out, Kingdom Hearts 3 felt a lot like that, where it's like okay, and then they really cram-packed a lot of shit like right at the very, very end of it, rather than like spacing those things out throughout the rest of the game. Right. So yeah. As far as movies doing that, like, again, they need to take a look at what that franchise is, what the storyline of the game is, and really whittle it down to what are the core elements that resonate the storyline. It can't be everything, but it needs to be like most of those things.
Right. So Phoenix over here says Witcher is open world and it's still a TV show. Did Witcher start off as a video game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Witcher started off as a little like open world video game. Personally, I didn't play it, but I know like several people who did, Phoenix being one of them.
Right.
Yeah, I never played it, but he's a side character in Soul Calibur 6, so I know who Gerard is. Or no, Geralt. Excuse me.
I haven't watched the Witcher show either, but I know that's highly popular. So there is actually a good example of the crossover that did do well. So let's talk about what's. I mean, have
there
you
are
guys
9 Witcher video games.
Oh wow! So you haven't played the Witcher video games, right, Rubik's?
No.
What about you, Ezra?
No, I haven't.
You haven't. Okay, so maybe this is something.
Like Skyrim. I'm gonna get sucked into it for too long, and it's gonna.
Okay,
take
so
hey, so look. Phoenix obviously isn't. Wait, Phoenix obviously isn't editing her shit. So throw her a link. I want to ask her.
Technically, it started as a book
already has
and then
it.
became a game.
Okay, I want to Phoenix. Once you come on real quick, I want to ask you, what does Witcher do right? Because I feel like
peer pressure.
We're
Here,
talking
here,
a lot of. I feel like we're talking a lot
anything-
about what's wrong, but who does it right? Who has a good video game movie?
But if anything, with what you were saying before, with what Ezra was saying about like games, you take 16 to 30 hours. A TV show, you can take the time to do that. Those episodes are those missions and those side quests. So like Red Dead Redemption would actually be better as a TV show,
Like a
by that
streaming
logic,
service,
where you
kind
could
of
really
one of those shows.
going on.
Yeah. Totally. Hey, what's up, Phoenix?
Hey,
Thank
one
you
second.
for being on. So, yeah. Like I didn't think about that too, but I think that's one of the value of like the Disney Plus shows and the HBO with like Peacemaker and all that is that because you've got 8 or 9 episodes, you really get to flesh out and care about the characters more than maybe a 2 or 3 hour movie.
Well, and the Castlevania series on Netflix was actually really, really well done too.
Mm-hmm.
It's odd that the first season's only like 4 episodes,
Right?
but they did a lot with those 4 episodes, and then season 2 was really solid as well. I do think that what was it? It was that they spent a lot of time with the main characters kind of like locked away in the family vault. And then they fleshed out like Dracula and his warlords and stuff, and kind of brought in some of the other characters from some of the other games in the franchise, but still did a good job of fleshing out that storyline. So really good action sequences. And then they did like a real clear point to try to character model all of the characters' colors, kind of like their sprites, which is one of those like deeper things that's really good for developers of these things to come out with. Is like really pay attention to the aspects and physical characteristics of the characters,
Right.
and showcase those.
Right. So Phoenix, obviously you've been listening into our conversations. What do you think Witcher does right? Why does that work? And I think Rubik's brought up a good point that I hadn't considered. But in your opinion, why do you think Witcher works translated from a video game, and so many of these other video games have failed when they try to make that jump?
I think they also Witcher was originally a book, right? And it was a Polish fairy tale. It was meant to follow a lot of Russian and Polish fairy tales that follow a certain storyline, and many people know those stories. Whereas, like, in fact, a man mentions one of them, which is the Baba Yaga story. And they bring in a lot of the storytells story that as a kid. And then they bring it in. They had it in a book, and then
Ezra, bring Phoenix up.
Oh, sorry.
No.
This is called directing.
No. And then oh God, why am I?
Love you.
So and then
Don't hate me.
there were a lot of fans for the book, and then it became a video game. And the video game stayed very, very went actually completely far away from the book. Witcher shows the real monsters are people. Yeah, Witcher show the real monsters are people by choosing evil as opposed to the creatures that are just hungry. Witcher gives you a option, whereas you can go and follow the story. And
you're talking about the game, right?
Yeah. For the game, well, the book just sort of follows how poor Geralt is a bit of a whore, but a bit.
Saucy.
Yeah,
He's definitely more than just a bit.
Yeah, actually, you can have sex with so many characters in that game. So, but it follows a story where you can either do what the game tells you to do, or you can just wander around and kill things if you feel like it. Skyrim. It's it's Skyrim with Polish fairy tales, basically. And so, and it's funny because the TV show follows the book. It doesn't follow the video game. Not many people know that. Because I see people go, oh, when does this happen? It's not going to happen because it's following the book.
Yeah, the first season is supposed to be the first book. The second is supposed to be the second, and then the third the third. And if there's more that we don't know about, so on and so forth.
Oh, they're saying they're going to be 9 seasons, hopefully.
I wish they would have done this shit with Chronicles of Narnia instead of like making 3 movies. And fucking it up.
Yes.
Right.
Oh
Right.
my god.
Those kids grew
Do
up.
you
though.
think having because obviously we're living in a different day and age than even just 5 years ago. Do
Mhm.
you think having these streaming services now lends to maybe us getting to tell better stories? Do you think we're going to see more video game movies doing it correctly because we have different choices now
Mhm.
in
Oh, definitely.
outlets?
Definitely. In fact,
Yeah.
the same person that's doing Witcher right now is saying that he wants to do God of War. You were mentioning God of War earlier. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, Henry Cavill is
Well,
saying that he wants to do God
then
of War.
they might get it right.
Henry
I-
Cavill will definitely make it right.
I think what we're also seeing is a lot of people who are fans are creating these stories, right? Where Henry Cavill loved the book and he loves the video game. And
Is he a producer on the show? Like, is he a big influence? I mean, I know he's the actor, but
Yeah.
is he also like, really in charge of pushing the show and backing it?
He's what I call, and it's funny because this isn't really a job, but I call it this, where he's a book thumper. Where there's been stories about how he thumps the book every time they try and say, yeah, but he's like, yeah, no, you have to stick with the story and the way it goes. This is not what Geralt would do. And he knows every story from back to front. Yeah, exactly. So I think you're seeing a lot of people who are growing up with the lore and they're saying, no, don't touch my story. Do not change it a bit. I want to see my story play out.
Well,
So
and
yeah.
that's kind of a lot of what the backlash of the new Lord of the Rings is getting right now. The Rings of Power. It's not so much about how they've diversified the cast. It's the fact that they're not paying attention to the lore and giving respect to something that's already kind of been set in stone in the Silmarillion. So I know one of the biggest bitches I've heard from the fan base too is like, why is it when we've already seen it mentioned in the movies about dwarf women having beards that the dwarf queen doesn't have a fucking beard? Like, what? How is it that you guys, when you wokeified it, didn't get that part right? Like, out of all the easy things, like, yes, look at that. We got this fierce ass bitch with this beard, and it's sexy. You took it away. You didn't even do it right.
But the fact that and because he's only mentioning it to make fun of him, you realize maybe he is just having a little bit of fun with him, right? I mean, I know the book mentions it more than the movie, but if you're only a fan of the movie, then it looks like he's just being mean or having a little fun with his friend, because he mentions the beards and he's whispering, stage whispering. Whereas I know the book kind of like, so it really depends, I think, what kind of fan you are. We're even seeing this with even Star Wars, where I was mentioning someone the other day. If you have not watched Rebels and Clone Wars and all those things, you're lost in the most current TV shows. So
right, and especially as we start going forward with like Ahsoka, because Ahsoka is going to take that's the General Thrawn whole line right there.
Where
I
she's
think
going to find Ezra, yeah.
Right, Ezra. There's another character that if you didn't watch, Rebels or whatever, you might be a little bit lost.
And they're probably going to mention Caleb Dune. If you don't know if you didn't watch Rebels, you are completely lost who that is.
Right. Yeah. So we're going a little bit away from our topic, but I think it can still tie in that, like, does that take away from it? Okay, if I'm just I like the Mandalorian, but I haven't read the books, or I'm not deep into the expanded universe. Can I still enjoy these stories even if I don't know the real? And the same with the video games. Can you still enjoy it if you don't know the nuances, the movie, if you don't know the nuances of the video game?
Yes,
I think.
Go ahead.
Say yes and no.
Why? Because she said it.
No,
sorry. Go ahead.
I want to say yes and no for the fact that you can still go and enjoy it and try and piece together everything, but there's gonna be people where you're just like, wait, who is this? Why are they being? Why is this person in here? Or you'll be like, wait, why did he go do this? I don't know why he's doing that. Whereas if you went and saw the like if you play the video game, you're kind of like, oh shit, he's going over to the Eye of Sauron or whatever.
Right.
You
I think
understand.
I think it plays into kind of a where you are in the world of the universe versus like what timeline. Because if you've established like a universe and you have like a set of characters and a story, obviously something that happens later on that involves those characters, you need to know a little bit about them. But if you're a good storyteller, you can kind of do both. You can have these characters come in without it being like I have to give you a full breakdown of their entire backstory. It should be more of like a nod to those that do know it, but still play out on its own right without needing that explanation for why.
Right.
At least it's one of those things that if there is like a prior material and you want to question it, like, hey, go watch this. Like you'll understand this character more. But versus like a timeline thing, like so if it takes place in like a completely different era, but it's still following the same world rules, like those things don't necessarily have to be on the same level.
Right.
But kind of going back a little bit with what we were talking about with The Witcher and him like popping that book out and being a fan. I think it's really important that we get more fans or people who are like really, really passionate about these things on the teams of these projects.
That's exactly what Ike says over here on the side. Exact same comment. One up above that.
And that's the fun thing about even the Uncharted movie is that Tom Holland's openly admitted that he absolutely loves the Uncharted games. And I think that he actually does do a good job in playing the comedic side and like the serious moments of it. Like he's a good actor. I think the only detriment that he really did have, like I said before, is that he's just so fresh-faced. And we're used to seeing like Nathan as this character who's in his 30s. And really with this movie, they've set him in his mid-20s. So it like kind of still's getting there, but it's still like a setup story. Like Sully better have his fucking mustache in the next movie. That's for damn sure.
Well, I mean, he's not that far off in age from he's 20. I think he's 25.
Yeah,
not that far in age.
17.
Yeah. I mean, people do have young looks, though, so I'm going to give him a little bit of.
But we also keep casting 20-somethings in every television show to play high schoolers, so our perception of what reads as young isn't always necessarily correlating with like kids today. Like somebody who's actually 17 does not look like Zendaya in fucking Euphoria. That's for damn sure. They look really, really awkward. They look more like Ellie from The Last of Us.
Well, wasn't Ian Somerhalder like 31 when he first became supposed to be playing 18 on the show? What's it called? Vampire Diaries. So.
Oh yeah, I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Dude, I know this is before your time, Phoenix, but go back and research an old TV show called 90210, and that is the masterpiece for like 40-year-olds playing teenagers, dude.
Oh, I watched it. I didn't like it.
Corey Spelling. Enough said. Oh my god, I forgot about 90210. Didn't they reboot that and it like failed?
Yeah. Nobody gave a shit. But we're talking
first coming out.
We're talking about movies movies that have evolved from video games. Now, here's one I'm excited about, and I think will be done right. We're gonna have to wait for a little bit of time, but there are very, very I wouldn't say confirmed rumors, but I'm pretty sure that this is all correct. That George Lucas has his hand in doing the Old Republic and bringing characters like Darth Malak, Darth Revan, a lot of the Old Republic characters and characters from the video games into canon and having their own series. And if George Lucas has his hand in it, of course, Filoni and Favreau are tapped into this too. I'm excited about that potential video game to movie.
Do you think they'll ever do something with The Force Awakens?
They better.
I don't know. What do you guys
Starkiller
think?
would be amazing. Although they did also make
Right?
Starkiller not canon anymore.
Did they? Now did they?
Yeah, they did.
Why do you say that?
Because they there was something that they did that I don't remember exactly what it was, but they did something where it was just like
it was like a huge plot hole for like the series as a whole. I think.
My
Mm.
I
Funko
didn't
Pop
realize
is
that.
sad.
I think-
Well, never mind.
My Funko Pop is sad now.
This
Hey, if
starting to,
anything with
Yeah.
like No Way Home, with fuck it, whatever. It's the multiverse. Just bring them together at some point anyway.
Well, okay, so
it's
apparently
sea level canon, meaning
they're now saying that Star Wars is in the same universe as Marvel. So, I mean,
Star Wars is in the
Okay.
same universe as Marvel. Wait, how does that work?
Sure. Again,
Yeah.
universe or timeline?
Wait, is this the Disney universe?
yeah.
Yes,
So
Disney owns
in,
everything.
in a recent interview, the CEO of Disney is saying, yeah, it's they're in the same universe.
George Lucas is not happy
So-
about that.
I don't.
Disney owns both of them.
Doesn't mean he's happy.
There was that one. I don't know if it was a fan story, but I don't know if you guys remember. There was a story that came out a long time ago about where like Han Solo and Chewbacca end up on Earth or some shit like that,
Yep,
and
they,
like it ended up evolving into Chewbacca is the reason we have a Sasquatch mythology. It's actually Chewbacca
God.
running out there in the
I
woods.
was gonna say, was it from the Christmas special?
Yeah, no, not from the Christmas special.
I
Yes,
mean,
George Lucas is talking about something to those shows, but there's gonna be changes.
I mean,
Okay.
E.T. was in Star Wars.
And this is true. This is true.
I mean,
Well,
does that mean
Yoda.
that Jurassic Park is in that world too. Like,
Oh wow. See, once you get started, dude, you just don't know where it's gonna stop.
yeah, I think
Right.
Disney is gonna ruin it, Klaus. I'm not gonna lie. I think that once they acquired that, they're like, we're gonna take this franchise where we want it to, sequel after sequel after sequel, but we're not gonna like develop it like they should with something that's compelling and different. They have literally done nothing but nostalgia for the last like 8 years, and it's really, really getting fucking irritatingly bad.
Right.
And it's just because of money. They just want to make money. They don't care about producing a new story. They know you're going to go see it because you love the original one. They know that you're a fan. They're banking on that, and then they're going to have toy sales.
Well,
they need to
you know
stick
what,
to doing
though?
shit like Encanto.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I feel like they took a little bit of a chance with Encanto. That wasn't a movie that, to me, follows the typical Disney script of, their big bangers.
It's following the current Disney structure, which unfortunately is lacking a solid, clear-cut villain, and is instead going for a more nuanced gray area or like a twist villain. Again, Encanto, the thing that everyone's really talked about the most, other than we don't talk about Bruno, is how it talks about generational trauma.
I hate the abuela. I hate her.
Everyone hates the abuela. Like, again, the family's pretty fucking terrible for the most part to Mirabel, like that entire film, except for the outcast Bruno and then her parents. Everyone else is kind of a dick. But beyond that, I'm sorry, this is one of those things I've been meaning to bring up as like a topic for this. Looking at manga, people talk about generational trauma. Like, you cannot tell me that there's not a shit ton of anime out there where boys have daddy issues or family trauma.
Done playing with your
There's
stick,
just
Ezra?
Father is like far too often a phrase that's shouted in any given fucking anime series because people have trauma from their families and how fucked up they are.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, even last week,
God, I want to watch Baki now.
we were talking about last week when we were talking about Korean and Japanese films compared to the, we were talking about the whole samurai thing compared to Western films, but we were talking about how in a lot of the Japanese and Korean movies, there always seems to be a theme of like either honor or like protecting your village or protecting a family member, or it's always about the emotional bonds between people, it seems like. So I mean, family, trauma, I mean, obviously fits right into that category.
It's interesting because they are, and I guess it's called the Han Theater. Whereas, because I studied in college Korean theater, because you had to do some sort of thing that's outside of the European ideas, and I studied the Han idea, which is to explain it's like a certain type of sadness that they claim that they feel, and it's expressed through theater. Whereas dance or music is often kind of a mixture of both. But they said they talk about how they bring it into, like, during the 1950s, 1960s, they started to bring it into the movies, where there were certain themes of sadness, and but it's also a nostalgic sadness, like not necessarily your sadness, but everybody's sadness, or like a historical sadness.
And that makes so much sense, because we were talking the reason we were talking about it, well, I had just seen Train to Busan, which is a Korean zombie movie. But what struck me about that was not necessarily the zombie movie, but the character developments, and obviously this father's love for his daughter, and how he changes from a greedy person at the beginning of the movie to a selfless person by the end of the movie. And that's where we were talking about, like, I feel like Japanese and Korean movies, and now that explains it, because I didn't know about. Is this like a whole genre, the Han?
Yeah. Han
Okay.
theater.
That kind of reminds
And again, it comes down to good. Go ahead.
What was that movie where this like football star got this, like, he didn't know he had a daughter, and his daughter came like randomly to him, and he was like this dick the entire movie. But then she has like an allergy to something, and then she gets there's like hella traffic where they're at, so he can't take her to the hospital. So he picks her up and runs her to the hospital that's like 2 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
What was that
I've
movie?
never heard of this.
I don't remember what it was. It was with who was it? Fuck.
Was this a foreign film or is this an American
No, it
film?
was an American movie.
You started talking about fathers and daughters and stuff, and then I was like, "Oh, please don't describe Old Boy."
Oh God! Oh God! Thank you for bringing that up.
Wong says, Ezra, Wong says, was Dwayne Johnson in it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think it was Dwayne Johnson. It was. I don't remember who.
I don't know.
I'm gonna Google it. I will be right back.
Hey, so you know what?
Hustle.
I'm looking at the time. It's 1:26, so we've got like 34 minutes left in the show. We haven't even started the second topic. Should we keep rolling on this one and save the second half for another thing and just make this a one topic show?
Yes.
Or should we?
No.
Flat answer: yes.
What, you don't want to talk about ancient aliens tonight, Ezra?
Not for only 20 minutes.
Yeah. I think we should save that and just stay with this. What do you think, Phoenix? Is it stay here?
No, aliens.
Oh, aliens. You need the crazy hair though to do that properly.
Yeah.
Game Plan. It was a 2000 movie with Andy Fickman.
What? Eggplant?
The Game Plan.
Oh, I thought you said eggplant. I was like, wow.
Eggplant.
Yeah,
Right.
Dwayne Johnson was in it. Yeah, you were right.
Raphael, thank you for tuning in. Okay.
There it is.
So I'm sorry. So you were talking about that in relationship to what? Or sorry. There it is.
The relation that the movie that I don't remember who like described it. That it sounded similar to that, like where the guy starts off as a complete dick, and then suddenly he becomes like this like selfless person who is willing to do anything for this other person.
All right. Mark, thank you for tuning in. It's always good to have you on here.
Hello.
We appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Tonight, for those that are just tuning in, our topic is video games and their translation to movies. We just got a shipment of Saber. Oh, you want to see if that's powered up now? Enough?
It is. I already tested it.
I saw him playing with his stick earlier backstage.
We just got a shipment in.
Ezra playing with his stick on the camera again.
So, just so everyone knows, this Saber surprised me. It has smooth swing.
Oh, that one does? Ooh.
I think all of them do.
We just got these in today, so like we haven't had a chance to play with all the toys. So this is the Saber we're giving away this Sunday night. You will find out who won the Saber if you did all the the likes and comments and shares and stuff. You are in the drawing for this Sunday, and this is the one that we're giving out. We found the Lego Saber for this. That's the one we're giving out this next week. It's a goddamn barbell, dude. That thing is like, that thing's got some weight to it, dude. You can get a workout and go to con at the same time.
Well, they're giving out every week.
Yeah, we give them out every week. That's right. And you have multiple chances.
Eli just said that he wanted one. So I was like, just
Go to our website. You can buy one.
I want one. I want one.
Go to our website. You can buy one.
Yeah, if you want to see Ezra employed, if you want to still see him on
Right
the show,
there.
you better get to that website.
Go to that link. Go to that link. I want to stay with this job, please.
Most of the Asian films are. Oh, I can't. It fell off the screen.
Sorry.
Are family oriented to keep people in check about sticking to the roots of your tree that you come from. Yeah, and it's so funny how like culturally, like, I remember when the whole pandemic started. And, people were like, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not wearing a mask. And the first thing I thought of was like these videos of people in Japan where like every fourth person or fifth person would have a mask. And it was because they were saying over there, the mentality and culture is like 180 degrees from America.
Oh, it's all about courtesy.
Right. And, it's not about for them. For us, we wear a mask to protect ourselves from getting sick. Right. They wear a mask to protect other people when they are sick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
like
I've been doing that because I've had a cold, right? And just because I keep testing negative for COVID, and I'm sure everybody looks at me like I've caught COVID anyway. But I've had a cold, and I'm thinking like that's not nice of me to pass that along, right? But not everybody thinks that way.
Right.
Well, but they should. If anything that this pandemic has taught us is that like if you feel sick, A, don't go to fucking work. Right. B, if you do go out and you're still got like any kind of thing on, put the mask on. Just put the mask on. I'm not feeling so well. Or even if you do have to work and you're feeling like you might be sick, put a fucking mask on so you don't get everybody sick.
Right.
Japan hasn't been doing it just for the last couple of years. They've been doing that shit for a while now.
Right. I just said that in reference to like videos I see on YouTube or online or just things. But the whole point of the matter is it's a cultural difference, right? I mean, it comes down to just their fundamental way of how they think. They are Asians, just like Stephen was saying, they tend to be more worried about the group than they are about the individuals in the group, whereas Americans are more worried about the individual rights of the people in the group.
Well, and that's the thing. I took Japanese for a few years in high school. I tried to continue it on in college, but different curriculums, different. Anywho, my aunt's Japanese. So I mean, I learned a lot about the culture, and one of the biggest characteristics about it is this sense of courtesy over the self. That it's not about you; it's about more than just you. And even the way that they argue is like by becoming more passive aggressive than each other, by being more polite than the other person. It's like, I'm going to just make you look like the bad person by being even better of a person.
That's very Southern, isn't it?
No, it is. I mean, that's the closest that American culture gets with that, I feel, is that there is something to be said about Southern hospitality. But it's the same thing. When you hear someone from the South say, bless their heart, that is an insult.
Yeah.
That is an insult that says they are stupid.
Yeah, you are dealing with a dumbass.
Hot.
But now, okay, so just in general, though, I mean, right now when we're talking about it, we are speaking about it as a positive thing, right? Looking after your community, putting your community first. Having grown up in a Vietnamese household, I will tell you that what comes along with that is also a lot of times the feeling that you cannot be who you want to be, right? My mom, when I told her I wanted to be a poet, like, she wasn't having it. I don't even think she knew what the word poet was, right? It wasn't lawyer and it wasn't doctor. So what the fuck? It doesn't matter, right? So, is that always a good thing to always put the group ahead of the individual like that?
What do you mean you want to be a poet? You're 5. You're supposed to be a doctor, right?
For your third job.
Yeah.
You're talking to a drag queen, by the way, just pointing that out.
I know, right?
Touche.
What do you mean you own that same pair of shoes as me?
Hey, Steve Melton, owner of First Order Customs. Thank you for joining on. He is in Florida. I love that dude. And Steve is actually Vietnamese as well. So Steve knows exactly what I'm talking about. But in a lot of the films, like I said, I watched Train to Busan, of course. Squid Game is kind of what launched me into the Korean movies. I just watched this other one the other night called Flu, that I didn't like quite as much. It was still pretty good. But you know, all of those movies are about the community. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, it's funny because I was actually just having a talk on Distance Nerding about this stuff where we were talking about how it's a universal thing to be kind of traumatized by your family, because Phil and James talk a lot about, or we talk a lot about on the show about being Filipino, right? And what that entails. But also we were laughing not too long ago, and I was describing how, you know, being Irish, there's expectations for the girls and for the boys. And if you're the third son, you're supposed to go to the church and serve your community that way. The first son is supposed to go away and make a lot of money, and the second son is supposed to do some sort of work for the community, and the third son.
Which one's the alcoholic?
All of them. There's no such thing. No such thing. But the third son is supposed to stay home and take care of mom after dad dies.
In Ireland, there is no such thing as an alcoholic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So fun enough that you mentioned that. It brings to mind another movie that is a Spanish film and a book that's called Like Water for Chocolate.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So you know this one. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
similar thing where the youngest daughter has to stay home and take care of mom, can't be with the guy that she wants. But it even has that whole commentary about like when you cook, the emotions that you have kind of seep through with what you're doing, and it does affect it. I fully believe that if you put a lot of love into the food that you're making for the people around you, they are going to just feel that and be like, oh my God, this is so delicious. Versus if you're miserable and you hate it, or if you're sad, it's going to read through it where it's just like, oh, this.
You know,
This
it's
didn't turn out
so
very
strange,
well.
but that is a true thing in life. I really can. You can taste the love in the food. It's very amazing. Even when you go to a restaurant, you can tell
There's
if the chef
Well,
is
yeah,
having a
but-
shitty day.
But like on our earlier topic of movies, even like it's about passion. If there's people who are passionate about what they're doing, the end result is going to show it. But yeah, with restaurants itself, I have one chef that does the tacos on Taco Tuesdays, and you could tell she puts a lot of love in it because those tacos are bomb as shit.
There's a really funny scene. I don't know if you've ever watched True Blood, but there's a funny scene when one of the characters die, and everybody's bringing food, and one of the characters, which is my favorite, is Lafayette, mentions how he hates it when people die in the South because people bring food over and all the food is just full of sadness, and he's like, don't eat that, it's full of sadness.
Right.
And I was like, that is so true, where people bring in emotion into your food. And even you think about like the sadness, they're bringing over pity food, right? And you're sort of like, ew.
Why it's always a fucking casserole.
Yeah. Ew.
Right. I think
Those are terrible. Unless it's spanakopita. I love spanakopita.
I think it has to do with it. I'm not 100% sure, but I think culturally it has to do with the fact that like you are mourning, so you're not going to be cooking, and so they're trying to give you food to, you know, kind of take care of yourself for the next few days, so you don't have to do with it. But yeah, you can taste the, you know, the love in there, right? Or the sadness, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, either that or it's that the person who passed away is the one that usually was the cook in the family, or vice versa, that the person that you used to take care of and cook for is now no longer there. And so it kind of hits on those other chords of like you're already depressed, so you're probably not wanting to eat. And then on top of that, like either the person who was providing you with that sustenance isn't there, or you provided that sustenance for is not there. And
Right.
it just makes you not want to do it.
Right. Right.
I think the very
Different topic for another day. Death.
we gotta jot all these down. Like as we're doing a show, we're like, oh goddamn, this could be a whole different show.
Medication, death in the family, trauma.
We're all over the place.
Even breaking up. I remember the very first time that I ever lived alone. And I used to double everything. I would, look at the recipe and go, okay, I have to do, twice this, twice that for me and him. And then when he moved out, I remember the very first meal I made, and it was sort of like, oh, like it's me. It's just
Right.
me,
Right.
I only need one chicken breast.
Yeah, I only need one chicken breast now.
Mississippi Vietnamese. Wow,
I was
can't
about to
even imagine.
ask you, Van,
Yeah.
if you don't mind my asking, what generation are you?
I was born in Saigon and came here when I was a year old. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I grew up in a Vietnamese household because my father died when I was 3. So I primarily grew up with the Vietnamese rules in America, which was a whole nother thing. Jesse, what is up, my girl? Bio Boar cosplay in the house.
Oh,
It's
you
funny to
remember
hear
that,
you-
but you can't remember Comic-Con Adventures?
Yeah, no, I can't. Obviously, I have a problem with alliterations.
It's funny to hear you. It's funny to hear you talk sometimes because I had a grandmother who grew up in Saigon, and then went over to India, and then went over to it was like born in India, went over to Saigon. They had to leave because of the war, and then went over to England, and so it's kind of fun to hear her talk because she's got a very interesting accent.
Right.
Very, very British with like a tinge of like that Asian, but you have to really listen to her talk. It's hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Dude, I am so in love with the British accent, dude. I need to meet your friend.
That's my grandma. That's my grandma.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
my bad.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on which British accent we're talking about. Is it like the very
Me?
quiet?
Is it the
Oh,
very
talking
she's-
kind
I'm
of
not-
like this?
she's got a very British upper class accent, but it's
I
very,
love
yeah.
like that British like Indian people that have that British accent because part of India was colonized. I love the sound of that accent. Oh my god.
Well, South Africa is very much the same way. The South African drawl is a bit different than the English accent.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's interesting how they talk because I've had a friend who did have a South African accent, and it was always Anthony. How are you doing today? It's like almost close to Australian. But I can't even do an Australian one. I can do Irish pretty well, and I can do English decently.
Right.
Get me on Southern, and I can't get out of it. People think I'm Southern all the damn time, and I'm from fucking California.
Well, I speak Irish. I speak Gaelic, so
I'm jealous.
it
It sounds like a fairy language. I love it.
is. I speak a little bit of because of the same grandma. I speak Welsh, but
Oh God, please give us an example.
Do it.
for
Peer
Gaelic,
pressure.
for Gaelic, I've already done this on distance learning too. For Gaelic, it's you would say hello to say Kadima Tatu, and and that's how are you or hello. And you say you'd answer Ogma Gormahagit Agasihin, which is I'm fine, how are you? You know. Let's see, Geosymedic, yeah. I try not to do it with an accent because I get people that are so offended. They're like, you're not there. That we're talking about being traumatized. There is a lot of people that go, you're not Irish. I grew up in a very Irish family, but because I was born here, you are not Irish.
Oh yeah,
So it's one of those things of like you're not our culture, so like don't talk about it or don't say.
Yeah.
The first time I went back to Vietnam, I went with like my brother and like my auntie and my cousin, and for some reason my seat was the only one that was like split up from the rest. I guess they didn't want to sit with me or something like that. But anyways, I got put between this mother and her daughter, and they were obviously going back to Vietnam. And I start talking to the mom. This woman that I don't know like started cursing me out and like belittling me because I didn't speak Vietnamese. So I completely understand how you can be part of a culture but still not seen as part of that culture.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely.
Which is so weird because like my aunt who's from Japan, when she like heard that I was taking Japanese, like she was so excited. It was like, oh my goodness, somebody else that I can like talk to and like kind of communicate with it. And it was one of those things that she was so excited about. Like every time we'd see me like, oh, Tony-san, genki desu ne? Like, and it was so cute because her kids, when they were really, really young, I used to joke and say they would speak Japlish because it would be like broken English and Japanese. Where they'd come over for our house for like Thanksgiving and be like, Kitty Doko. Hiridoko. And I'm like, oh, that's so freaking adorable because I know what you're saying. Like, it was one of those cute little moments, but I do think it does depend highly on the culture. Back when I was 19 and thought I was straight, my first girlfriend was actually Chinese. And this is why I was asking earlier what generation, because her family was like straight up from Taiwan. She spoke Mandarin, and I remember like kind of like joking with her, like, hey, you know, I took Japanese and I'd love to learn Chinese with you to like impress your mom. And she straight up flat out was like, no, there are certain tonal things that you will just never full on get because you weren't raised in this, that there are certain ways to say something that it's going to sound so similar to something else and it means something completely different. Like, just please don't try it. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. And it's not to dissuade anybody from like learning a language if you really, really want to, but it does take in like working with a Vietnamese family myself. Like, that is so drastically different from Japanese that I couldn't follow along.
Right. Vietnamese is a tonal language too. So like ma are all three different words.
Exactly.
One means ghost, one means your mother, and one means rice.
In the Irish language, there's no yes and no. There's a sound which is sha, but it's not yes. It's a guttural sound. It doesn't necessarily. It's an agreement.
It's like the Japanese. They do a lot of that, and that's just them agreeing, like yes.
Right.
Kingdom Hearts 3 is full of that. Get ready for 2 hours of just. Not even joking.
Right.
Good to know. I was gonna play that tonight. Oh.
It's only at the end part of the game, so just prepare to have an energy drink or you're gonna pass out.
Or just take a nap during the whole thing.
So fun. Back to like the movie side of it though. Like, okay, so some of the things we were talking about earlier tonight made me think of the Jet Li one, Hero. Did you ever see Hero?
I've heard of Hero, but I have not seen it.
Yeah, same.
Oh, it's so good. It's one of those ones that is a big homage to like the old, like kind of the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon style, where they like do the crazy acrobatics, jumping off of like a leaf in a river kind of thing.
Right.
But they did something very clever with the cinematography of that storyline, where the main character is essentially telling 4 different stories throughout it, and each of them are color coded. So like as he's talking about the relationship with the first character that he like defeated, it's like red, and then the next one's green, and then the next one's blue, and I think the last one's black or something like that. But it's based off of I believe it's a historical story about the man who basically aggressively took over all of China, but it was also to unify it. Because so many factions were at war with each other, and then this character ultimately decides to like not kill this emperor because he sees the bigger picture of like it's better if we're unified together than to constantly be fighting with each other all the time.
Right.
That's a fun little cultural one. And then again, Kung Fu Hustle. Have you seen Kung Fu Hustle or heard of Stephen Chow?
No. Yeah, I've definitely heard of Stephen Chow, but I have not seen Kung Fu Hustle.
Last time I watched it, I was very, very drunk.
Oh my god! Oh, I love that movie so much. That and Shaolin Soccer are both epic. They're both campy, but they have a lot of action. And then the characters are just really, really fun characters to kind of get invested in. The landlady in Kung Fu Hustle.
She's the one with the cigarette and the curls that you always see like the memes of, right?
I cosplayed as her one year.
Oh! I want pictures.
Yeah, no. I felt like I was being so racist too.
Send me pictures. I will throw them up. Do it. Do it. Come on.
Forgive me for asking, Phoenix. What is your genetic background? What is your 23andMe?
God, I'm a mutt.
Oh my!
I'm primarily Irish and German, Norwegian, Swedish, that kind of thing. A lot of Viking and Nordic and Celtic. But also I've got a little bit of mixture of the islands. I've got I'm a Kiwi. And I've got Taiwan from Taiwan.
Okay. I was about to say, I was like, I kind of see a little bit of the Asian background in there, but I wasn't certain what it was because there's so many of them.
Yeah, I mean, we're primarily after Irish and German and all that. We're primarily Kiwis, so I've got a little bit of the Maori.
You're a fun mix.
Yeah.
You're all like from across the continents.
Yeah.
I'm like 80% European, and then the rest is from Connecticut. Like,
I'm a little mutt. Yeah, no. I don't know that other side. That the fun stuff is my dad's side. And I don't know them. We have a lot of. You don't want to talk about generational stuff. The father always takes off, and then that's so I didn't know my dad's side. I knew my mom's side. So I was, and my grandfather was very protective of that. Whereas we don't talk about that other side. You're just ours, and that's it.
We
Yeah,
don't talk about Bruno.
They're Bruno. They were all Bruno to us. And
I had the same thing in my house, which is why, like, I say that, I grew up in a Vietnamese house, even though I grew up in America. I grew up under, Vietnamese rules and stuff because my dad died. So it was one of those things where you just didn't talk about, those things.
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
we are getting.
Go
ahead.
I was just gonna say that I've heard a lot of like different stories from people who have come over from other countries. Again, my boss from Domo, who is Vietnamese, like told me this terrible story about how he came over on a boat when he was like 14 and like nearly died from like dehydration and all sorts of stuff. So the fact that he could come to America and like raise a family here and be a successful businessman, like that's a big deal. And I think that there's a lot of that notion of like what brings people to America from other walks of the world and why they have high expectations on their kids. Like, I think that's why it's a common trope of like, you want to be a doctor because that's something that's useful for your community, but also makes money here.
Right.
It's why,
same with being a lawyer.
It's why I feel bad for and people are like, oh, immigrants and stuff. It's why I feel bad for the immigrants, but I'm coming from a very just a generation ago is when we first a lot of the generation in my family became American because my dad was born here, but my grandparents weren't. So and my grandmother was there. Actually, you mentioned Saigon. My grandmother was there for the fall of Saigon, the day Saigon fell. Her father was taken, he was a soldier, he was captured, and her mother and her had seconds to get out, and it was the Americans that took him, and she became American.
Right.
God, I just had flashbacks of the Hey Arnold Christmas special. Dear God. That will make me cry any day.
Yeah, we can talk about generational trauma as another topic for one of the things that I think is very interesting, and then let's try to get it back to movies real quick before we get ready to close out. We'll get people's final thoughts and stuff. But it's in Vietnamese culture, a lot of times when people, like when a family comes from another country, that first generation in the new country, like they're totally excluded from everything. Like you don't get to hear about the stories of why your family. It's almost like a lot of the stuff they had to go through was so traumatic that they don't want to tell their kids about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I can't get my grandmother to talk about it. The only thing she mentions is the grove that she used to live next to, and there was a fruit, and I forget which fruit she's talking about. And then she mentions all the jade and the carpets that were gone within a second because they couldn't go get them. And she'll still talk about it. She'll be like, "Oh, my mother would scream." I guess one of the soldiers found out that my grandfather had been taken, so he picked her up, and she said that the last image she had was her grandmother being dragged out of the house, screaming about jade. The jade. The generational stuff is interesting.
Right, Steven's 100%. You never hear about it until you get in trouble for stuff.
Only when
it fits your parents' narrative.
When the good old guilt trip comes out, the Italian family did that well.
All right, guys. Well, we are coming up near the end. We got about 6 minutes left. Did we have some final
you were
thoughts?
Not 20 minutes over. Shit.
Occasionally it happens where we actually finish on time. Not often.
I mean, unless we want to go into the second subject and go till like 1 a.m.
This is true.
Yes! No,
Seeing
that's
how we are
editing
doing,
to
seeing how we're doing this every week, I like to save some of our more juicier topics to make sure we have stuff to do every week. I did want to say really quickly before we get into our overview for some people that just tuned in, do not forget Sunday night at 7 p.m. Tune into Kyber Cave Presents Saber Rattle. We are giving away a free saber every single week.
Ezra's got to pull out that stick every time.
I know he likes to play with it. This
Oh my
week,
god! Shush.
the saber that Ezra has is the saber that we're giving out this week. Last week, our first winner, Mr. Ike Woodruff from, I think, Minnesota, won this. It just came in the mail today, which is why I still have it. Don't think, people are winning and then we're just holding on to shit. It just got here, guys. Give me a break. Literally like hours ago.
Were you serious about it vibrating earlier? I had to find out.
It does have smooth swing.
Yeah, were you?
You'll have to buy one and find out.
Oh no, it doesn't vibrate at all.
You're not feeling any vibrations?
I don't think anything with that much electricity and it needs to be anywhere near an orifice.
You don't think the spikes were enough to deter you?
You don't know me. You don't know me.
Yeah, I know. I guess it depends on how desperate we are that night, huh? So please tune in on Sunday night at 7 p.m. Pacific time. You will get to see the saber we're giving out. This week, we are giving away a Lego saber. I am affectionately calling it the Emmett saber around Kyber Cave. But we are giving away a Lego saber.
Oh.
Emmett from the Lego movie.
Everything is awesome.
I was gonna say we've got Emmett on the distance starting too.
Oh, nice. See, maybe
Right.
Emmett will win the saber.
We've got Emmett.
3 a.m. your time. Well, no, 7 p.m. our time is not 3 a.m.
No.
your time.
He's saying because I mentioned we can take this till 1 a.m.
Oh, yeah. We are fortunate enough to have several East Coasters that tune in to us. So make sure to tune in every Sunday. We are giving away a free saber every week thanks to our sponsor TXQ. We are very thankful for them. We're not to the point where we're giving away stuff here, but maybe we can find an adult novelty store that will sponsor us. We can give away different kinds of lightsabers every week on this show.
Different kinds.
All right. Last thoughts. What are your last thoughts? Let's start with you, Rubix.
On the subject of video game movies again, I really implore everyone go out and watch Street Fighter 2, the animated movie right now, because it's the best example still to date of a good telling of a franchise like that. However, on Uncharted, I think that it's a good B- film. I think that it's got room to grow into something much bigger and badder, and I'm certain that's what they're planning on doing. And I'm hopeful that, God of War is something that they take seriously enough that it's epic in its own right when we get it. Because you cannot describe that game series without epic being in your vocabulary.
Or badass
visceral. Outside of that, I'm hopeful that they don't fuck up Tomb Raider more, because this last one wasn't my favorite. And then I'm looking forward to other things that are coming about.
Don't let your husband hear you say that.
I do think that we're going to see a lot more television shows taking this on, just to really get at that character development. And I think it's going to be more and more popular right now because of the fact that most video games have really compelling stories, and Hollywood's clearly running out of ideas. That's why they've remade everything that they made 20, 30 years ago. And they're running out of that shit now. So now they got to take to the things that are currently on our consoles and in our faces. A Kingdom Hearts movie is going to be real cute.
What would a live action Sora look like?
Terrible.
I mean, can't even imagine
every anime that's been turned into like a live action version of that anime, they always suck. Like certain mediums need to stay in that medium.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
Even Kakigurui, which I love that one, and that's at least a human-based show. Even still, ooh, it's a rough watch.
I need an adult.
All right. Do you have anything you would like to plug?
Oh, we haven't gotten through everybody's final thoughts, and then we can do quick plugs.
We're doing plugs at the end.
No, actually, no. You're right. Let's do this together. Do you have anything you want to plug, Rubik's? You're right. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
If you're in the area, please come and check out Rubik's Cube Sleigh House every Wednesday at Blend in Lodi. It is Lodi, California, and it is the sleepy little town, but it's a hell of a fun night. That's for damn sure.
And it's right in the middle of a lot of other big towns, so you can drive 30 minutes or an hour away and have some great entertainment on a Wednesday night.
Yes.
Woo!
So we open at 7. We start the show around 9.
Excellent. Phoenix, any final thoughts for the night?
I kind of agree about the Uncharted. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm excited to go and see it. I think that we're seeing a lot of fans, like I said before, keep to the storyline, which I'm excited to see. You're seeing a lot of like Filoni is a fan, a giant nerd boy that's in control of a lot of things right now. I'm excited to see that.
Right.
And
James Gunn is a big comic book fan.
Yeah. You're seeing a lot of fanboys and fangirls. Come on, ladies. Direct things and be in control, which I'm excited to see.
Right.
I guess I'll plug Distance Nerding. Come see us. Come check us out. We will be at the Comic-Con at Capitola this coming 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Yeah, that's this weekend. For some reason, in my head, it was like 2 weeks away, but no, it is like a week away. Sunday is going to be Star Wars Day. So you're going to get, this is the first time in history they have 5 of the 6 living Boba Fett's will be in one place, along with Emily Swallow, who plays the Armorer. And I don't think she's listed on here, but there's another woman who is the stunt woman for the Armorer and Ahsoka. She does a lot of the female. Bring the poster back up. We have Mary Gibb. That's the one I'm excited about. That's like that. She is Boo from Monsters Inc. So she will be in the house, as well as a bunch of actors from Sons of Anarchy. Oh, and they're gonna have the original motorcycles, I guess, from Sons of Anarchy are gonna be there as well. So
they will also have our good friends Tim Donaldson and Sandra Nelson there.
Utini! The cool Jawa and Darth Vader himself, and Alan Fernandez.
They will have our good friend Alan Fernandez.
Yes, all of which you have been on our show, and I think Distance Nerding as well, right?
We will.
Basically, if they're coming on one of our shows, they got to be on the other one too.
And another new development, and I'm not sure if you guys heard the announcement, but we will be having a celebrity guest judge that will be judging the costume contests on the 4th or on the 5th and the 6th. Saturday and Sunday we'll be doing costume contests. There will be cash prizes and a celebrity judging. So come and meet him. We're not telling you who yet. I am so excited because I'm a huge fan. And
I'll have to talk to you about that too, because we actually got merchandise in, so it's possible that maybe we can donate to the costume contest. I didn't want to commit the other night until we had product and in my house, but it is here now.
What are you asking, Ezra?
Is it Tom Hiddleston?
No, I wish.
Yeah, right. Dude, she wouldn't even be muttering right now. She wouldn't even be able to speak.
My husband wouldn't be allowed to come to that con. Anyway. I'm single. What? No. No.
All fast.
I'm surprised he's not on the celebrity pass list. Doesn't every couple have a celebrity pass list?
He is. My hall pass is Tom Hiddleston, and his is Deadpool or whatever his name is.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Mine was Chica the chicken from Sprout.
I thought it said Tara.
Tara Strong.
Corey Spelling. No.
Tara Strong's like a whole nother level, dude. I don't even dare to fantasize about her. Like, she turns me down in my fantasies.
But as for getting back to on the train, come and check out, come in costume. We would love to have you come to our booth and sign up. I will be judging as well as Phil and hopefully James. I believe that he'll be judging, if not taking pictures.
You will be judged.
Yeah, Distance Learning will be judges, and then the celebrity guest surprise judge. We'll be announcing that pretty soon, who that is. I'm so excited. Hopefully,
Sam Wong says it's Mark Hamill, isn't it?
No, it's not.
I swear to God, if it was Mark Hamill and you knew that and didn't tell me, I would kick your ass so
I'm
hard.
not going to confirm or deny who it is. You guys are going to love it. It is a celebrity, and you are going to love it. Yes.
And it's not one of the celebrities that was already on that poster?
No.
Ooh.
Is it
Pee Wee Herman?
Is it Jensen Ackles?
Paul Robbins?
It's a friend of the con, and it is in fact a very good celebrity. So yeah.
Is it Jared Padalecki?
You told us absolutely nothing with that. All right, Ezra, you got anything for us?
Go check out the website. We have a bunch of new merchandise.
KyberCave.com.
Go to kybercave.com. Get your t-shirts. Well, you won't be able to get this one, but get your t-shirts.
We got these in today.
I want that one. I want that particular one. I'm going to.
Oh, the one that Ezra's wearing?
Yeah.
The one that he's wearing specifically, or one like it?
Just for him. I want that one.
This is probably my favorite KC shirt. We should really get these.
Yeah. I'm just not real excited about the way they print on there. I like the design. I just want to find a different print company. Anyways, anything else? Anything else to plug over?
Check out, for those of you who are watching on Facebook, don't forget that we have Twitch and YouTube, youtube.com/Kyber Cave, and then twitch.tv/Kyber Cave Productions. For me personally, follow me on Instagram at Ezra_Kyle43. That's my photography account. Don't forget, also Kyber Cave has an Instagram. It's just Kyber_Cave. And yeah.
No, we have the other one now. Don't forget the password.
Oh yeah, we also have Kyber.
We got the original one
Kyber
back.
Cave. Yes, we finally have the original one back. I have to log in still.
Kyber Cave everywhere.
Yes.
You need like a little banner that's just all of your links.
We have a link tree.
Oh, link tree.
Yeah. That'll be in the descriptions next week.
Plug it.
Next week.
Yes. So make sure to join us. We do 2 shows every single week, every Friday night at 9 p.m. to 11. We do Kyber Cave After Dark, where we talk about nerd culture and where it crashes into reality. And that's a pretty good plug line. We should save that. Anyways, and also every Sunday night, Kyber Cave presents Saber Rattle at 7 p.m., where we are giving away a free saber every single week. All you have to do is, just subscribe, like, and share, and comment.
Okay.
And you have to tag us in the post.
And tag us in the post. Yeah, we're getting that worked out. What'd you say, Phoenix?
Can't wait for you to give me my lightsaber.
Freaking give me a lightsaber. Shoot, I don't even have a saber. I don't have a working sound.
You just gotta look at the ones he's giving to other people and be like,
"Oh no, look at here, enjoy."
Any requests on what my next character
Joker.
I bring to the table?
Wait,
Joker
we just did Joker.
Oh, yeah, you just did Joker.
Yeah. Any requests from the comment boards over there?
This one did okay.
I am pushing for the other mother.
Other mother from Coraline?
Yes.
You should do like a voting thing, like a voting poll to see who wants.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
The question is, which version of the other mother? She's got like 3.
Like the button eyes.
Well, she always has the fucking.
Oh well,
button
yeah,
eyes.
I guess. Yeah.
When she first meets her versus the polka dot versus the crazy cracked out spider monster version.
Crazy cracked out spider monster.
You could do the crazy looking.
Oh yes, I look for a challenge. Are you kidding
woman
me?
Jedi.
Lady Jedi.
Nah, you gotta go with the Sith. Red blades for life.
I mean, I have a Leia costume, but it's the slave Leia costume.
Oh, well, you can do.
You can do it.
I was gonna say you could do Darth Talon.
The interest, you can do that. Yeah, do that.
You can do it on this show, not the other show.
Well, let's face it. My foul mouth is always on this one anyway. So.
You can't on Kyber Cave After Dark.
Wait, do what?
You can on Kyber Cave After Dark.
Oh.
Well, he
Yeah,
said
It's fair on this one. It's their other ones. I gotta be all PG, and I gotta make sure the girls are put away.
The girls don't want to go away.
I know. They if I push them hard enough, they fart. It's kind of funny.
That happens with a lot of females. All right, y'all. Let's kill this thing before I get us in trouble.
Oh, boy.
I love you guys. Thank you, Rubik's Q Arcana, for being with us. Thank you, Phoenix Earth. How do you even pronounce that? Earth?
Just Phoenix. It's just...
Thank you, Phoenix for distance nerding.
It's fire backwards.
I know what it is, but I said, how do you pronounce it? I know what it's spelled. Thank you to Ezra from Kyber Cave, and I also am from Kyber Cave. We will see you next Friday with another fun and exciting topic, and we definitely want to thank everybody who tuned in, especially, like, we had a lot of East Coasters on tonight. That was a lot of fun. I know everyone's pulling out mine. I got this one that's not lighting up. All right, y'all. I love you, Kyber Cave family. Peace.
Bye, everyone.